Hello, welcome to Tuesday, y'all. Ooh, Tuesday afternoon. Okay, I am gonna get started on Facebook too. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Hey, what y'all eating for lunch today? Huh? Okay. I made a big breakfast. So let me tell you why we are meeting at 12:16 on May the 16th. Because my oldest turned 16. Hello, somebody. What? So, y'all, I have 3 girls. Hey, Chic. Welcome. 6, 8, and today my oldest turned 16. So I told myself, you know what? May 16th. 16 years old, 16, 12, 16 is when we're going to go live and just talk about this burnout life. Okay? And we're going to get started in just a moment. Let's see. I'm trying to get this going on Facebook. Because you know what? Let's just do all the things. All right. Allow. Okay. Start. Cancel. Hey, Kappa 357. How you doing? What? Hey. I was just telling our other follower, because y'all, I got 2 of y'all now. Hello, somebody. That I am going live May 16th at 12:16 because my oldest turned 16 today. So it is her sweet 16, and mama is out here trying to help us overwhelm mamas. And I even have a daddy on here. What? Go from burnout to bliss. So we're going to spend our time today just getting on the same page about what burnout is. And I would love to hear you all's experience with burnout. Like, how do you know that you're there? All right. So let me, I don't know. I feel like there's one more button I need to click to go live on Facebook. All right. Complete, go live, public, done. I don't know. I may be live. Okay. All right, we're going to get going. Okay, so once again, welcome. All right, so as I said, I'm a mama champion, and I want to talk to y'all about who I'm here for as a mama champion. So I'm here for all the mamas, okay? If you're a plant mama, if you're a pet mama, if you always thought when you were a little girl that you would be a mama and that never happened biologically, but you still nurture and are a spiritual mother to women, friends, sisters, cousins, I'm here for that mama. I'm here for the classy mama. I'm here for the ratchet mama. I'm here for the mama who act like she got it all together, and she don't. She don't. Because let me tell you, she don't. It looks so much better than it really is. So I'm here for all the mamas. And like I said, we're going to talk about burnout specifically today. I helped overlook and overwhelm mamas go from burnout to bliss. But let's talk about right now what burnout is. All right. So welcome. I'm inviting you to get started in this conversation. Shout out to those of you who are catching this on the replay. Send me a note in the chat if you're with me. Say, hey, say, I'm a mama. I'm a plant mama. What kind of mama are you? So I want to break down burnout, like I said, because until we actually deal with and face some of the things that we come across in life, we really can't address it. So one of the big things for me is acknowledging things and becoming aware that they exist, right? And making space for that. So this is a safe space for us to just talk about what it is and what we experience when we go through it. So I'm going to read these definitions of burnout, and I want y'all to listen closely. All right? But before I get to this part, I want you to share this, right? Because this is something we all need to hear. Y'all, the pace that we operate at in life is more than we can handle. And what we're not going to do is act like this is normal, because it isn't, right? So I'm going to give you a moment to share. And now I'm going to hop into burnout. So burnout as a noun is the cessation of operation, usually of a jet or a rocket engine. It's also the point at which burnout occurs. It is also exhaustion of physical or emotional strength or motivation, usually as a result of prolonged stress or frustration. Burnout could be a person suffering from burnout. It could also be a person showing the effects of drug abuse. Y'all, this is an abusive situation. It is toxic. Now, burn out, two separate words, is also a verb. It is to drive out or destroy the property by fire. It is also to cause to fail, wear out, or become exhausted, especially from overwork or overuse. So I'm going to just pause here for a moment. Send a word in the chat for anything that just stood out to you. Whatever you heard that you were like, what? I can relate to that. Or, hello? So one of the things I want to talk about today is that we are created to be multidimensional, right? We serve a God that is Father, Spirit, and Son. Okay? 3. He also created us divinely multidimensional, right? So we have a body, that's our flesh. We have a soul, that's our emotions, our feelings, our mind, our heart, right? It's the very essence of who we are, right? So if you're silly, if you're funny, if you're serious, if you're focused, if you're determined, if you're ambitious, if you're quiet, if you're shy, it is just the deepest sense of your identity, right? That's your soul. And then we also have our spirit, okay? Now, as a believer, I'm a Christian, so I am filled with the Holy Spirit the moment that I accepted Christ into my life. So I operate with this, right? But you know that there is something that makes the sun rise and set every day. You know there is some miraculous way that the seasons change and that the breezes blow and that the storms come, right? So it is that amazing supernatural part of us that's so much greater than everything else. And so when we are going into burnout, I'm going to talk today about 5 dangerous signs that you are moving into burnout and how it affects these 3 dimensions of who we're created, how we're created. All right. So y'all with me? All right. Let me know that you're with me now. I have more people who've joined. Hey, CHK. Hey, WEBUEZE. What's up, Rejoice? So glad to see you. All right. So send me a note, a chat, emoji, a number 1, because you hear me and we're moving on. Okay. So now I want to start with how burnout impacts you physically, right? So I talked about how we have these 3 parts of us. There's this body, right? So tell me how you know you're getting to that point of burnout, right? When I read those definitions, we talked about how it's overuse, right? It is an engine that burns out. It is exhausted, right? So when you get into that point where you're overworked, please tell me, what does that feel like? So I was talking to someone the other day, and she was like, I get this pain like in my back pain, a headache, right? For me, so I'm always online on the computer. I get it in my shoulder, in my neck, right? That's when I know like this stress and strain is just more than, my normal makeup, right? So there's an impact to us physically when we are moving in that direction of burnout. That's one of those signs, y'all. Another one for me is when I am up for way too many hours, y'all, my eyes literally start to burn. Like my eyeballs are like, please close me. Please close me. Hey, Andrea, welcome. Welcome, Aiden 2023. Hey, y'all. So I'm talking about what are some of those physical signs that you're getting burned out, right? Send me a note in the chat if you can think of something or have specific examples. And I'll tell you a personal story. Had my third child, went for a 6-week checkup, and the doctor took my blood pressure. Okay, I'm gonna take a sip of water. And told me to take a seat. I said, oh, okay. They said, how do you feel? I was like, I feel fine. So I'm sorry, it wasn't the doctor. It was like the nursing assistant. Took my blood pressure. Then somebody else came over. She said, could you check her pressure? This can't be right. So they checked it. She was like, let's try a different cuff. They had like 3 or 4 people check my pressure. I'm feeling fine. This is how I roll. This is how I flow. My blood pressure was 200 over 100. Y'all, I've never had high blood pressure. I probably now looking back, remember being dizzy a couple of times, was definitely overwhelmed. And so they made me sit there until my blood pressure came down. We did our checkup and immediately directed me to a specialist and gave me a high blood pressure medication to go get filled and start taking. And so I'm just wanting to give you just my own personal example of y'all continuing on this toxic path of burnout, of going, of overuse and overwork. It will take you out. This is why I'm so passionate about talking about it, discussing it, making room for it, right? So, number 1 are physical signs. That's one of those dangerous signs that you're headed to burnout. And we are not going to continue normalizing this. One of the things I want to focus on today is let me introduce you to burnout, okay? This is burnout. This is what it looks like. This is what it feels like. Because what we're going to do is break up with that. That's not what we're going to keep doing. We're not going to keep moving in that direction and allowing it to take away health, joy, peace, existence in our lives. Okay? So one of the major ways that you know you're headed towards burnout are those physical signs. All right. And then I talked about how we have this soul, right? The very essence of who we've been created to be. Your character, your personality, what gets you mad. I'm talking about mad, angry, upset when you see it on the news or when somebody does it or says it, right? There are 2 things I want to talk about regarding burnout that are soul. They impact your soul. One of those are some of the emotional signs that come up, okay? Number 1 is physical signs. Number 2 are emotional. So, you go to the grocery store, they taking too long to ring you up and you about to lose it. Like, who does this person checking me out think they are? They think they're going to disrespect me and my time? Like, y'all, if you are irritable, for me, I get very irritable because I generally tend to be a bubbly person. But if I'm irritable and my energy gets really low, I'm doing too much. I'm doing too much. Y'all, when my 16-year-old, okay, we talking about a teenager, when she says, Mommy, you okay? Can I give you a hug? Okay, this is when I know, ooh, yeah, my mood is. Now, I'm not saying that we're supposed to always be happy. We're supposed to always be okay. No. But I'm talking about you being outside of who you normally are, the essence of who you were created to be. That is a sign that you are moving towards burnout. If you are over emotional, really teary. Now, there's a number of things that could be going on, right? Hey, I'm in my 40s. Could be something hormonal. There could be other health issues. You might have underlying health issues. But if you are over emotional and oversensitive, it may be a sign you're burnt out in some way. All right? Okay. I'm going to take a pause here. I want to hear some thoughts from you all on how you know, like, I knew I was burnt out when this happened. Or when I said this to my husband. Or when I told my child this. Ooh, how about when somebody, okay, I'm not even gonna, I'm gonna pause on that. Okay, so number 2, emotional signs. Now, number 3, I want to talk about being super unmotivated, or you could be overly productive. You're really caught up in the doing. Okay. That's the space that I tend to live in. So if you are someone who, some of us are naturally like task oriented, focused, determined, ambitious, awesome. That's who you are, right? But when you find yourself, if you're that type of person and you just get really unmotivated, if you are a person who likes to take it easy, you like to chill, you don't like to be around a lot of people, but now you're feeling this, you just off. For whatever reason, you don't want this person to leave, or you need more people to do this for you or to do something a certain way. This is a sign that you're moving towards burnout, because how you normally operate is just off. It's just out of balance, right? And so when that happens, it's possible that it is just tied to just some other deeper things that we want to spend time with and make space for. So for me, I tend to be a busybody, and that's just who I am. Like, I've learned to accept that. But when we get to the point, I'm also a recovering avoider. If you are doing things because you're trying to avoid a difficult conversation, a difficult situation, an uncomfortable person, place, like, I want you to sit with that, right? I need you to make space for what's going on here. Check in with yourself, because there's something in your soul that is off. There is sometimes when there's a conflict that has to happen, it has to happen, right? Sometimes if somebody's getting on your last nerve, something need to be said. Okay, y'all, I was the person who never said anything, right? So for those of us that are people pleasers, it will drive you to burnout. It will, y'all. And I'm going to go back to this definition. It is also someone who shows the effects of drug abuse. It is exhaustion, moving to wear out or failure from overwork or overuse. Y'all, this is beyond somebody being annoying. This is like, hear me. It's not okay. Okay? All right. So y'all, we have talked about physical signs, emotional signs, and those, that part of us that may be really unmotivated, or it could be that you're doing just too much for the sake of not having to deal with what you need to deal with. Hey, Rhoda, welcome. Hey, Heart Dog 00. Ooh, honey, you hate conflict and confronting people. Honey, yes, that's me all day. So, but as you know, it can lead to burnout, right? So another way that this shows up, y'all, thank you for sharing that, is procrastination. Also blaming other people. what they did or didn't do. Like, anytime that you trying to push a whole bunch of stuff externally, oh, I can't deal with this person because of this or that. I'm talking about if it's something that's for you, that you know is for you, and that's holding you up, something external, you need to deal with that. That's not how that works. Okay? All right. I am going to move on to the last section I want to talk about regarding burnout is spirit. So for those of us that are just joining and to those watching this on the replay, hi, I'm Caroline Colleen, Mama Champion. I help overlooked and overwhelmed mamas go from burnout to bliss. And today I am doing a masterclass focused on burnout. I want us all to get on the same page about what this is, because we can't deal with stuff until we face it. So we're about to look burnout in the eye so we can identify it, acknowledge it, and make a different choice, right? We can get off that toxic path, this rat race that does not serve us. It does not serve us physically. We have a body that God gave us. It doesn't serve us, our soul, right? That's the very essence of who we are, right? Emotions, feelings, our character, our personality. And then spiritually, y'all, this is a spiritual killer, right? So let me talk about what that means. So spiritually, as a believer, I believe in Jesus Christ, honey. The Holy Spirit is within me, right? Even if that's not your belief, you still got a spirit. You know that there's something bigger than you that got all this stuff working and functioning, right? How our lungs expand and collapse. Every breath that we take. However we wake up and go to sleep and hopefully take naps. That's another conversation. Like, it's okay to take naps for us grown folk. It's essential. So, spiritually, I'm going to talk about two different ways, big burnout signs spiritually. So, when you find yourself on spiritual autopilot, now, I'm one who grew up in church my whole life. Did I have a relationship with the Lord? No. But been going. And when I tell you, this is when you are checking the boxes, y'all. This is when you want to make sure that you be here and be there and go there and do that. And you get this rush of excitement and joy because you helped with this. And, oh, they want me to do that. I'll do it. Oh, I can take care of that. Y'all, that is not the purpose of your faith. That is not the best that God has for you, right? So for those of us that get caught up in tradition, religion, one of my clients called this churchianity. Y'all, come on. And I know that you know what I'm talking about because some of us have been hurt and burned by this whole idea of what we should be doing and how it should be done and what you should look like and how you should dress. And y'all, that will lead to such a lack of peace in your life. I'm here to tell you it's sinful. And y'all, all sin means is it's a separation between you and God, right? The idea is that we are in perfect or great alignment with him. And not only that, when you think about the fact that we were created, body, soul, spirit, we want to bring those three into alignment, right? So if your body, you think your body is fine, but your soul and your spirit are toe up from the floor up, it's just a matter of time. And I'm telling you what I know, because my soul and my spirit were a hot mess. Went to the doctor for a checkup thinking everything was okay. And my body was like, no, it's not. So I'm here to tell you, don't stay on that path. It is toxic, right? So one of the things is you also, when you get on this spiritual autopilot, it's really hard for you to make this deeper connection to God, to the Holy Spirit, to all the wonderful things that are for you, right? Whatever your purpose is, whatever vision that you have for yourself, for your family, for your love life, for your friendships, for your finances. Y'all, this separates all of it. When you think that your purpose is to do this, check the boxes, get it right. Oh, y'all, that was a big one for me. I'm a big rule follower. Get it right. So this is a sign, and it's one of those things that will really drive you to burnout. The last one I want to talk about is getting in your own way. Now, the reason why these two are spiritual is because they impact identity, your identity. So for those of you who are familiar with Brene Brown, it's okay to be guilty when you do something that's wrong. You should feel bad about that. That means that was a bad choice. But shame is the one that we don't want to spend too much time in, right? Shame and condemnation. That is, I am a horrible person. Why does anyone put up with me? Oh my goodness, right? So this is how the burnout signs that are spiritual, they really mess with your identity. And it keeps you from so much. It actually makes you believe that this is who you are. That the life that you have that's here or a struggle or full of fear and confusion and dysfunction and disappointment, it makes you believe that that is the best you can do and the most that you can have. So this is why it's a little bit different than the soul thing, right? This is so much deeper. And so one of the things that Jesus would always say when he was going to heal someone was, are you willing? Do you want to be healed? So I'm here today to say, do you want to? Do you want to meet burnout? Pay attention to it in your life and choose differently. Because I'm here to help you if that's the path that you're ready for, right? I am here to introduce you to another side, right? We're kind of getting familiar with who burnout is and what it feels like. We may be very familiar with that. Y'all, another thing on this last one about getting in your own way, it's when you constantly have this voice in your head that's very critical, that's extremely negative, that's extremely judgmental. So when you deal with people who just have a hard time keeping other people's names out of their mouth, they're so worried about what they're doing and what they're not doing and what made them do that. Which, y'all, you could be talking about someone you don't like, but you could also have those thoughts about your spouse, your child, your mama, your daddy. Like, what was she thinking? So when you are in that place where you are really moving towards burnout, y'all, I'm not talking about, oh, this person irritated me today. I'm talking about weeks, months, years. Y'all, some of us for decades have been stuck in a mindset and a thought pattern that is wearing you out spiritually, within your soul, and has already manifested physically. All right, so I've been talking for a while. I want to hear in the chat if this makes any sense to you, what other examples of burnout you have. Have you ever considered this spiritual aspect of the danger signs of burnout? I mean, we know physical aches and pains, headaches, stress, those things. But what other thoughts or examples can you share when it comes to burnout? What that looks like or feels like for you. Hey, Delina. Hey, Erica. Oh, I appreciate y'all. All right, so while we're taking a moment to get some comments in the chat, I also would love to give you an opportunity to share. If this is something that's resonating with you, that you can relate to, then there are probably other people you know who might appreciate the same information. So please take a moment to share. If you're here, welcome to the replay. For those of you who didn't catch me live. And then one of the big things that I've learned is a core value of mine is self-awareness. So a part of why I want to talk about burnout, introduce you to them, is I also want you to be still. And I said introduce you to them, introduce you to it. It's a thing, not a person. It's an it, right? It's an it that if we take the time to face it and allow whatever is behind and maybe deeper and beneath that, then there are actually some things we can learn about ourselves. There are actually some things that we could grow in, right? So when we get to that place where we finally get a chance to sit with burnout and what it means to us, how we've experienced it, and what it might be an indication of, something that you might want to deal with, talk to someone about, or get even just some physical help with, massage or physical therapy or whatever you need, right? Because like I said, we're multidimensional. It affects us in multiple ways and they feed into each other, right? So we can only go so long in physical pain or discomfort before it affects our soul and our spirit. We can only go so long in ignoring emotions and feelings, right? Now, our emotions and our feelings, they don't rule us, but they are an indication that, hey, there's something here, right? So a friend of mine, she's on here, Delina, she sent me this TED Talk about a lady who, mom, doing all the things, got it all together, went for a mammogram, then went for a biopsy. They called her at work, told her she had cancer. Okay, she got her list. She gonna work through all the things. You know how we do? Okay, all right. So now we're just gonna add this to the to-do list. Okay, so we're just gonna keep moving. Plan a trip with her girls, and then at some point the reality of this diagnosis set in. But before that happened, she was driving in her car and she just kept going. The light was red. She was hit. And so once again, I just want to remind you that when we stay on this path toward burnout and we ignore these danger signs, we pretend like this is normal, it's going to show up. Our attention will be got. So one of the ways that we do this is I'm going to talk about what I've been doing for several years as a life coach is I meet with women one-on-one and we sit in and talk about, okay, what are these self-limiting beliefs that I have? What are the stories that I tell myself, right? That I have come into agreement with that simply aren't true or aren't serving me, right? So we take that and then we replace it with what is the truth? What do I truly desire? What have I always wanted to do and long for, right? And so there's burnout and then there's bliss, right? That's my tagline, from burnout to bliss. So let me define bliss for you. So bliss is perfect happiness. It is great joy. It is reaching a state of perfect happiness, typically so as to be oblivious to everything else. Okay, I'm going to read that again. To reach a state of perfect happiness, typically so as to be oblivious to everything else. So y'all, we can drive through life with all the negative, the burnout, the emotions. We can ignore and keep going with the weight of all of that. Life is still gonna life. We could also stop and pay attention to what we need to and work through it and then keep going, right? So that part is, I'm not talking about toxic positivity, y'all. I'm not talking about that. But I'm just talking about actually facing and acknowledging the things that we know are saying, hey, listen to me. I got something to teach you. I want to grow you. I want to expand you. You are worthy of love and attention. Y'all, attention to your own self, right? And the reason why I always say overlooked and overwhelmed mothers, because we know that we cannot operate out of overwhelm. But when you actually start to deal with your junk, there is this overflow. Y'all, especially when you are able to figure out how it aligns for you physically, emotionally, in your soul, and spiritually. As you figure out how to align that, it's an ongoing process, y'all. It's day by day for me. But through the coaching that I've had and that I've done, there are certain tools that I've used that have been very helpful to help me better understand who I am and how I flow and then who I want to be, right? So we were talking about bliss, okay? Thank you, joined Heart Dog 00. It is important to get help when you're burnt out. So this brings me to the bliss, right? So where I found my bliss is community, having a tight community of people who actually get it and get you, right? So there's community. A big one for me is also my faith. And then just having those tools and having someone to talk to, just like Heart Dog 00 said, right? And so I have been coaching women one-on-one for a couple of years. And to be the kind of mother that I want to be involved in ministry the way I love to, I do not have the bandwidth for that, but I still know how this has changed my life. And so what I wanted to do was invite you all to a group coaching program that starts next month. It's a 4-week program, 1 hour a week, and you get a chance to go through the tools in a very small, intimate community. I'm just looking for a very small group of people to come in and to spend some time connecting with themselves, right? To figure out, okay, now I know what burnout is. All right, so how do I figure out how to shift this mindset, right? How do I feel like how this specifically shows up in my life and attacks the good things or those things that I hope for and desire, right? So if this is you, I want to invite you to join me. If this is not you, I would love for you to share this with someone that you know could benefit from something like this, right? All right. If there is someone who's hearing what I'm saying, you're with it, you're like, what? Can I get you to put bliss in the comments? I will reach out to you, give you more information about the program. And we are, once again, going from burnout to bliss. What other thoughts do you all have about what burnout is, how it shows up for you? Anything today that was helpful? Was this helpful? Tell me how. And another big part of the process that I'd like to share, which is critical for me, is being kind and compassionate with yourself. So when I talked about those spiritual signs of burnout, it's getting in your own way and being on spiritual autopilot. So when you do this, when you get stuck in tradition and religion and the way it's always been and what's right and what's wrong, this is where it's really difficult to give yourself much grace, much less anyone else in your life, the people who are closest to you. Yeah. So you're hard on yourself, you're hard on everybody else, and we all just miserable. Okay? And if it's working for you, please go with it. If it's not, reach out to me. Let me know. So let's see here. So I think that's what I wanted to share. So I really appreciate you all joining me this afternoon, and I look forward to hearing from you in the comments. Please share and have a wonderful afternoon. Once again, for those of you who didn't hop on earlier, so my goal was to go live at 12:16, and today is May the 16th because my oldest turned 16. It's her sweet 16. I am Caroline Colleen. One thing I know about this journey of going from burnout to bliss is it has such an amazing impact on your life. And I believe, especially when it comes to that spiritual aspect, that there is a generational impact. So my first name is Caroline. My daughter's middle name is Colleen. Okay. She turned 16 today. And then my mom's first name is Colleen. So part of why my business is Caroline Colleen is it just speaks to that generational and just ancestral power that we have to be empowered and to make different choices, to choose rest and to be graceful with ourselves. And that is me. All right, y'all. Happy Tuesday. Thanks for joining. Bye.